Well, good morning, ladies and gentlemen, all my little lovelies. Welcome to spring in Alaska. It is a beautiful day. Sky is blue. I would say grass is green, but not so much. This is my driveway. It is covered in ice and what will soon be, in probably the next 48 hours, an incredible amount of mud that looks like that. So this morning I thought I would just go and walk up to my post again. It's a good way to get some exercise. I like to go and just exercise and move because as a college student I spend a great deal of time sitting on a very hard chair, which my husband actually remedied. I have a new chair. I just have to, fix it and put it in my office because I haven't done that yet. So anyway, one of the nice things about living in Alaska during the quarantine is there's roughly one person per every square mile with the population here. So the things are a lot more lax here. We are all supposed to stay in our homes, but our chief medical officer and our governor have said that we can go outside as long as we are 6 foot from other people, not walking through mud. But as long as we stay 6 foot away from other people, we can go outside and enjoy the outdoors because there is such an expanse here. There's so much land, so much trees. But if we live in the more populated areas like Anchorage or Fairbanks, they caution you to quarantine yourself to your house. If you have the virus or feel sick, you need to quarantine yourself to your room. Yeah, that's not working so well. But we've been able to get out and just go and enjoy the outside. See, like right now, I'm on my street, and as you can see, there's not a soul around. And that road goes on for about another 3/4 of a mile that way. So it makes it nice because I can get out and I can go for a walk and I don't encounter anyone. No, I am not sick. It is spring. Therefore, allergies are happening. And it looks like I'm not going to be able to avoid this mud. This is so gross. But that's the breaks of breakup. So in Alaska, there's kind of a joke. We say there's 3 seasons: winter, breakup, and construction season, and then it goes back to winter. We say construction season because during the summer, a lot of building gets done, paving of roads, things like that. The winter here can be so hard on the pavement. I would imagine it's probably a lot like what the heat does to the roads in like California and Arizona. It kind of warps them a bit. But here we get what are called frost heaves, and it causes the concrete to buckle if the temperature drops low enough. So they just go back and they fix it. And then of course in breakup, ice will also make concrete a little brittle, so you get potholes, and they just go back and they fix it all. Anything that's going to be built, new buildings, houses, things like that, they build that. So, oh look, I found the post box. Okay, so here's irony for you. In one of my earlier videos, I told you about how my oldest daughter, Sarah, went into the Army. Well, last weekend, she graduated basic training, and she did really well. She has been rated an expert marksman, which is a little scary. But she's doing really good. She graduated in the top 26% of her class. She is doing amazing. She looks awesome in her uniform. I should probably put together a little video just about her so you guys can see what I'm talking about. But she has turned her life around so remarkably in the last 3 years. It's been incredible. To get into the Army, she had to drop 75 pounds because she was heavy. But she did it. She did manage to drop it. Well, I just checked the post, and of course, neighbors. Of course, having other children and recruiters in and out of your house for the better part of 6 months, I just got something in the mail from the Marine Corps for my daughter Kennedy. The Army has been trying to hunt her and recruit her, and apparently now the Marine Corps wants to steal my daughter. The problem is Jen cannot serve in the armed forces. Due to a couple health things. There is no way. I mean, she's got the intelligence and the physical stamina and that kind of ability, but there are a couple of quirks about her health that they would literally have to look the other way. So it would be very hard on her to be a Marine or anything else, even though she would be an amazing Marine. She really would. But Sarah's doing really good. Jen's doing not so great. She's lost her ice arena. They canceled her competition. She lost both of her jobs because of this virus. She works for the borough at the swimming pool, and she worked for the Kenai River Brown Bear hockey team. But because there can be no more games, quarantine, 6-foot rule, all that stuff, obviously she doesn't have a job because those things are no longer allowed. This will pass. I know everybody's having a hard time with it, but I think everybody just needs to keep their chin up. Stay positive. There's all these insane conspiracies flying around. Yeah, I can see how this virus can be used for political motives and do some political stuff. But the reality is either you have faith that God's going to carry you through this or you don't. This mud is so gross. But, well, we're in breakup season now. But you have faith that God's going to carry you through it or not. And I think that you should, because God's not going to carry you into a battle that you can't come out of. You know, you just have to have faith that your finances are going to be okay, that God has a purpose, but you have to lean on Him and you have to believe that that's going to happen. You have to trust and pray to Him and ask for that favor and that blessing. Now, in a very strange way. Now, my husband got medically quarantined. In a strange way, this quarantine and this virus has been a blessing to my family. And that probably sounds like a really bizarre thing to say, but, and it really is. But my family, my husband needed time off desperately. He was hurting so much because he's waiting for me to graduate so he can have some surgeries that he needs. And my family needed some together time. Mike needed time down, but the problem is to take the time down means you lose the hours, which means you lose the paycheck. Well, my husband works for a company, and so does my son, that has offered extra paid time off. And if you happen to be medically quarantined without using your paid time off, this company is paying these employees that are medically quarantined. And my husband ended up medically quarantined, so he got 2 weeks off. He still gets a paycheck. He got the time he needed. God blessed him with it. And if our family qualifies for the, I don't know what Trump is calling it, the assistance to families, it will help us catch up on some bills. We can make it whether that happens or not, but that would be an additional blessing because then we can catch some things up that we needed to catch up. We have had all the food that we've needed. We've had all the supplies that we've needed. We've had to revert to using some things, some methods that are about 75 years old, but to get through some issues, but we've managed because there was a time when modern conveniences did not exist. And so when this quarantine happened, people freaked out. They overshopped, overbought, and caused an even bigger problem, whether they want to admit it or not. That officially made you part of the problem. But it's just one of those things. But my daughter also, as far as blessings go, she will skate. She'll run herself into the ground. She will hurt herself. She has bruises. She'd bang herself. The doctors say you need to give that knee a rest or you need to give that arm a rest or whatever. And of course she wouldn't. She'd go back out onto the ice. This, to her absolute horror, has forced her to rest. It has allowed her body to heal. It has allowed her to take time down. And then last night she's like, Mom, it's forcing me to think about things I didn't want to think about, stuff that I've buried. Well, maybe it's time to let that stuff come out. So if this quarantine has forced you into a position where you're actually having to deal with other things, maybe it's God talking to you. So I would highly recommend that use this time to get closer to God. If God is trying to put you and your family in a position or teach you something, take the lesson. I always say there's a lesson in everything. But don't let this quarantine be viewed as a prison sentence. And a lot of people are viewing it just as that. So I'm going to ask that you just take a time to pray and spend time with your family, get closer to God, look for the lesson in all this. And this will also help you find creative ways to deal with unusual situations. And I'll tell you what, this is quite an unusual situation. So just look for the win. Always look for the win. And and as far as my family goes, this has been kind of a blessing for us because we're getting to spend time together. My husband's getting to rest. We're not losing income. My daughter's being made to heal whether she likes it or not. And that to me is a blessing. But anyway, I just wanted to take you on my walk this morning, check the mail, and have a jolly ramble. And I know I've probably been all over the place, but hey, rabbit trails happen. So God bless you guys, and I love you, and I'll talk to you later.